Hiya folks, and welcome back to the Small Business Toolbox. Last time we looked at what a tax return looks like for a self-employed individual in the UK. Today we're going to have a look at what happens if you're a company director. I'm just going to take you through the most basic kind of company director tax return that you're likely to ever fill in the UK. It's going to be really simple, and in real life you're probably going to have a slightly more complicated situation than this. But hopefully it's enough to kind of light the blue touch paper and give you a good enough insight as to how the whole thing works behind the scenes, that when you come to fill in yours, you can ask your accountant the correct questions. And on that subject, as per usual, I am not an accountant. I am not in any way qualified to give you financial or accountancy advice. If you run a business of any shape or size, you need to find yourself a good accountant. They are worth their weight in gold. The whole purpose of this channel is to kind of give you the background information that you should have really been taught in school, that'll hopefully give you enough knowledge that you know what sort of questions you need to ask your accountant. And apart from anything else, if you run your own business, you should have a good broad kind of knowledge of this sort of stuff anyway. So with all of that in mind, let's head over to the computer and have a look at what a tax return looks like for a company director. In this kind of scenario, we're looking at a director who's pulling in pretty much minimum wage, about 12 grand a year or thereabouts as a basic salary, and then you're going to be taking about 20 grand a year in dividends. I have come to the URL gov.uk/self-assessment tax returns with hyphens in between everything. I'm sure you can find it through other means on the government gateway thing on the government website. Anyway, if you come to that, and then over on the right we've got file your self-assessment tax return online, and then scroll down a bit and you get the start now button. That is the bit that you need to start now. That takes us to the government gateway login, so you need to have already sorted a sign in to the government gateway, so make sure you've done that. So put your credentials in and then do the whole two-factor authentication access code thing. Just scroll down and click on self-assessment, and then just double check the deadline for online returns for this one is 31st of January 2023. So make sure that you are doing the correct tax return. Then just click the complete your tax return link. Again, double check we're completing it for the correct year. This is a 2021-22 tax year, which is due January 2023. Scroll down and hit the Start Now button. First page, it's a Tell Us About You section. It's all personal details. Just make sure it's all correct and scroll down to the bottom. Obviously, read through all this stuff and check it's correct, but I'm just putting no for everything. So, tailoring your return. Were you an employee? Yes. Or director? You were an employee of your own company. So we're going to say yes. How many employments or directorships did you have? We're just going to say 1. Employer name, I'm going to call it Andy Mac Drums Limited. Was your turnover more than £1,000 from self-employment? No, we're going to say we had no self-employments, we weren't in a partnership. Everything else, we're just going to say no to keep it really simple. Interest, no, but dividends, we are going to say yes. We'll come back to that shortly. Pensions, we'll say no. Child benefit and all that, we'll just keep it simple for now. Save and continue. Pension contributions and all that sort of thing, again, to keep it simple, I'm just going to put all of these as no. Same for the transfer of your personal allowance to a spouse or civil partner. Again, to keep all of that simple, we'll keep all of that as no. So that set up all of the sections of the tax return. So obviously if you had multiple employments or multiple self-employments, you know, you could have been a director of 2 companies, you might have had 2 self-employments, and you might have been working for another employer somewhere down the line, in which case you can add all of those sections in here as needed. We're keeping it really simple. We've just got this Andy Mac Drums Limited company that we're going to enter the details for here. So enter income. You would need to put the employer's PAYE reference in here. So obviously you should be running payroll. If you're not running payroll, you need to talk to your accountant because you're going to run into problems. But your PAYE reference would go in here. I'm just going to leave that blank. It might come up with an error. And then here is the information that you need to put in from your P60. So whoever's running your payroll should have given you a P60 for the end of the tax year, and you literally just put the information in here. So Pay from Andy Mac Drums Limited. I'm just going to put £12,000 to keep it simple. Any tax taken off, we're going to have a 0. Tips and things, nope. Were you a director of this company? Yes. If you cease being a director, when did you cease being a director? It's not. Is it a closed company? Generally, that's probably going to be a yes. But do read the information in here. If the company was a closed company, select yes, otherwise select no. That is brilliant. A closed company is broadly one that is controlled by 5 or fewer people, those who have a share or interest in the company, blah, 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 or any number of participators if they are directors. So for this, yes, we're saying it's a closed company. Is this employment income from inside off-payroll working engagements? No. Employment benefits, so information from a P11D. Have you received any taxable benefits from the company? I'm going to say no for this. And do you wish to claim any employment expenses or capital allowances? You generally wouldn't do that if you're employed by a company, but there are situations where you might. We'll see if it comes up with an error. Yeah, it's asking for a PAYE reference. I'm just going to try and put something random in. And it's also complaining that we've put that as 0. Let's just take that out altogether. Very common with HMRC and tax returns that sometimes if you've got a box that needs to have a 0 in, sometimes you have to leave it blank, sometimes you have to actually type 0. Let's try that. Yep, that's let's do it. Any other information? Nope. Save and continue. And then it's automatically taken us onto the dividends section. So dividends, let's say that we took out 20,000 in dividends. Everything else we're going to assume is 0, but we'll see if it comes up with an error. Nope, it's fine. Underpaid tax, nope. Oh, this one needs a 0 in. Save. This one probably needs a 0 as well. Save. Again, 0 in that. I'm just keeping it really simple to fly through this. Claim a repayment, nope. We're just going to put no on both of those for now. Adjustments to tax due, we're going to ignore all of that. Any other information? Nope. Are we going to include an attachment? Nope. Save and continue. And this should give us a nice summary of absolutely everything. We'll do next to view the calculation. At this point, you'll get kind of a summary calculation on the screen, but the best thing that you can do is scroll down and view print your full calculation. So click on that link there, and then this gives us our full breakdown. So we've got 12,000 income from employment, and we've got 20,000 dividends, which gives 32,000 total income, minus our personal allowance of 12,570. We've then got a total income on which tax is due of 19,430. It's then automatically worked out all of our dividend related stuff. We've got no tax due because we're under the tax threshold. We're under the personal allowance. So on £12,000, there's 0 tax to pay, but there is going to be dividend tax to pay. We've got our dividend allowance automatically added in here. So we've got £2,000 at 0%. And then we've got the remainder, 17,430 at 7.5%, which is £1,307.25. So at this point, it's a good idea to do a print your full calculation, because this gives it as a nice kind of PDF, and it's a useful thing for your records to keep hold of. So print that, either physically printed or, as I say, printed as a PDF. You'll notice here that we've got a payment on account due for next year as well. So that gives us a total amount of tax due of £1,960.87. Save and continue. Are you claiming to reduce your payment on account? You would only be doing that if, for whatever reason, you're not going to be paying any tax in the next tax year. So you shouldn't have a payment on account, but we're going to say no to that. Save and continue. Then you can save a copy of your return. All you do is scroll down to the color section, view PDF, and that will give you a full offline copy of your tax return that you should keep for your own accounting records, because if there's any problems later down the line, this is what you're going to need to refer to. So make sure you keep a copy of that. And then finally, go all the way down to the bottom, save and continue. And then you've just got a couple of little declarations you need to do. Tick those boxes, click submit, and that is your tax return done. And by the way, if you do make a complete hash of it, just go all the way back to the beginning, go to the welcome section, scroll all the way down to the bottom and do delete your entire tax return. If you do that and then click confirm, it will take you all the way back to the beginning before you even started filling in your tax return, and then you can start all over again if needs be. So folks, I hope you found that useful. It's really quite straightforward in most situations, but as I say, always get an accountant to help you out, at least with the first couple of returns that you do, to make sure you're doing everything correct, because everyone's financial situation is slightly different, and that's the whole purpose of an accountant, is that they're going to kind of dig into things in way more detail, and over time they'll gain an understanding of your financial and accountancy situation, and that in itself is invaluable. If you've got any questions or you're just a little bit uneasy about things, fire away in the comments below, and hopefully we can all kind of put each other's minds at rest. Likewise, if you think I've made any mistakes or I've said anything that's just wrong, please correct me in the comments below as well. For now, all the best on your small business journey, and we shall see you next time. Tatty bye.